Welcome back to another installment of What's Up with your hosts,
Chris Otaco
and BB Comics. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally going to do this episode. The one episode we have been talking about since a couple of episodes ago.
Yes, sir.
We are going to be covering American Beauty, the 1999 film. And just be warned, viewer discretion is advised, because I cannot promise that Chris Otaco will go on I can't make any guarantees that Chris Otaco will go on a rampage.
I promise I will try my best to keep myself cool. You don't have to put a gun in my head, Brian.
I'm just saying, so viewer discretion is advised.
Alright, I'll let Brian take over for the meantime and give his side of the story and his opinion about the film, and we will go back and forth with each other to see how the viewership, including this film, goes.
Alright, so I'm just going to point out a few details, and I'm going to throw it to you.
Alright, go for it.
For those who aren't familiar with American Beauty, the best way I can at least jog anybody's memory, since it's a 1999 film, is Family Guy. Because you remember Chris Otaco, the Family Guy has always been known for doing reference.
Oh yeah, countless obscurity of movies and shows.
So this movie is no exception. For those who don't remember, there was a reference where Family Guy does this, where Peter is at a cheerleader game, and then he goes into like a trance when he sees this cheerleader girl.
I think it was Corny or some shit like that.
Connie D'Amico.
Connie D'Amico.
I'm not sure. You might have to reference, but yeah.
Yeah, it was Connie D'Amico.
So then Family Guy did a reference based on this movie. Another reference is the bag one.
The bag?
Yeah, where Ricky, the star in this movie.
Oh yeah, where Peter was supposed to be filming Stewie riding a bike, but instead a freaking paper bag or whatever was all in the wind. He's like, it was something majestic, just such wonder and the beauty, and then you see fucking God screaming, "It's just a bag blowing in the wind! You don't know how many brain cells are burning in there?" Oh, that movie was great.
Yeah, so back to what the best way to describe American Beauty. This film stars Kevin Spacey. For those who don't remember Kevin Spacey, he was most known for his role as Lex Luthor in the 2006 Superman Returns film.
Yeah.
So that's if anybody jogs his memory.
Yes, continue.
And anyway, back to and then also directed by Sam Mendes. Directed also the 1917. He directed The Skyfall, which came out in 2012. Spectra, the 2015 film. And so anyway, back to the film. This film is about a series operative becomes delusional with his existence and begins to hunger for fresh excitement in his life. As he experienced a new awakening of sense, his wife and daughter also undergo changes that seriously affect their family. Critically acclaimed, this film won Best Oscar for Best Screenplay, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Film. And now I'm going to throw it to Chris, so at least for him, what are your initial thoughts when it comes to this film, Chris?
I fucking don't get it. I mean, okay. Brian made me watch this movie about a year ago or so. I lost count.
I think probably during the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic.
And I don't remember how the story went, but I guess either he lent it to me.
Yeah, I lent you, borrowed you.
And what happened was, I watched it. I had to watch it for the first time because I was bored. I didn't have Amazon Prime yet, and oh my god, the movie was just brutal for me to watch. Like the scene with the cheerleader, and then the scene with the wife, and then the plot twist everything, and like how Brian said, it's not a typical Hollywood ending where the bad guy
goes to jail, the couple ends up being together, the world is safe.
Yeah, this is just like the opposite. The director of this must have thought of this like, you know what? That's not how most life is nowadays. So he thought of switching it the other way, like the infamous scene that I am looking at that movie right now is the hot tub scene. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna watch this movie, watch it in your own risk, because this is just not right.
Yeah.
But I do respect the characters and the actors, but the fucking movie's just fucking weird. But I don't know. This is not like your typical Hollywood movie. This is basically, this feels like a low budget, even though it came out in '99. I
Well,
think
2 years after we were both born.
2 years after we were born. As far as I know, this is a. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying it's a good movie in a way.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, go back with you.
So I'm gonna tell you guys my side of how I discovered this film. So I watched this film in one of my script writing classes. I don't remember which of my three script writing class it was. So either way, I watched this because my instructor wanted us to understand how the script structure, how this story was formatted. Script writing for me was not my specialty, but either way, I ended up just loving watching this film. Like I saw how the ending was, and it just blew my mind, like the whole ending. And then a couple years later, I believe 2019, I ended up finding this movie at the thrift store. So, and then I decided, okay, yes, time to watch it again and get a better understanding of this film. And so far, it's good. And I've only watched this movie three times already. This is for me. And it says, at the end description of the back of the DVD, it says that it will entertain and challenge audience to look closer for years to come. That's the thing about me. One of the things I've grown to love over the past, say, 5 to 8 years, I love those types of films that make you think, that make you want to question what you just saw, question how you can make those connections in life. That's sort of one of my favorite types of films I like to watch. Make you think, make you question the things that you see. So what do you want to, throw it back to you, Chris, what do you want to add? Was there any scene that spoke to you, any character, that really just made you question?
Oh my god. Mainly the father.
The father of Ricky, or is it Lester?
The other guy in the family.
Lester, or you mean Ricky?
Lester.
What are your initial thoughts on Lester, who's played by Kevin Spacey?
Okay, one, Kevin Spacey, good actor. I love his movies. I watched him in many different good movies. But in this one, it makes you want to hate him for some reason. And you get that, you know how most movies, Definity, try their best to make you want to hate this person? You love the actor, but you just hate the character. Well, and it just does the job right here.
Well, if you think about it, look deeper into Lester's character. His daughter, Jane, doesn't respect him, and then basically he's always being controlled by his wife, Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. There was a scene later in this film where basically Lester, Karen, and Jane were having dinner. They were so arguing. Then Lester decided to take a stand and basically do what he wanted to do.
Pause.
They lied to me.
Who are you?
So I was talking about Lester and how his whole family situation. I think, and then I bring up what are the reasons that there's a couple of reasons why Lester decides to take a stand. But the one thing that really set his emotions on his path was meeting Ricky.
Yes.
Like, anything you want to add to, like, when it comes to Ricky?
He seems like an awkward kid. Like, he's... I guess he can't really do anything because his father's a military.
He's old school. He believes that America should act people should act in a way. I think in a way he talked about this place is going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a generational thing, I think.
That's true because things have been changing since the 90s.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, but I guess he's just old school and all that way that he
wants Ricky to be like act a certain way.
Yeah. And I guess he's basically in chain with his dad because his dad is very old school and he can't express the way how he should be doing. Only taking orders from his own man.
That brings up the fact because I don't think you've noticed this or like you remember, but I think if Lester doesn't get his way, he runs a tight ship.
Mm-hmm.
Even the wife, the mother of Ricky is afraid of his own husband.
The wife of the military man?
Yeah.
That's understandable because it looks like she can't really do anything.
Yeah, and I think it brings up to the idea of, like, I want to say family, but family in the case of Ricky and in Jane's family, I think Ricky's family is like, they live in fear, like I would say domestic abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are certain moments like where Ricky's father is like, it's either goes his way or you end up getting beaten.
Mm-hmm.
There was a scene where Ricky was in his room and then his father comes in and says, I don't like locks in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the earlier scene. I don't know if you remember seeing the scene when Ricky was coming home from work. It was Ricky's father was watching TV, and then his wife was on the other side, and you can tell by her expression that she was afraid.
Oh yeah.
Because of how her husband was like completely acting.
That's true.
And in the difference I bring up family, look at Jane's family. Like there was like, and especially the mom, Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
She's like lets her to be defined by appearances. She wants to like think that her create this perfect family.
There is no such thing as perfect. That's the one thing about everyone thinks that there's perfect. Everything's perfect. In reality, there's no such thing.
Think about it. There was at the beginning. We'll go back to the scene where Carolyn and Lester were at that party.
Yeah.
She was like all on Lester's case to like act a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
be presentable,
be polite.
Yeah.
Not being weird.
Not being weird. And then there was another scene later on in the film where basically Lester was just like after quitting his job, he was just on the couch and then he wanted to have fun with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment got like completely ruined when Lester got dirtied up the couch. And then the wife Carolyn starts making a big fuss in which then Lester tells her, you're defined by material possessions. You don't allow yourself to live.
That's true.
And then to think that's one of the reasons that Lester, after meeting Ricky, decides he wants to have fun in his life.
Mm-hmm. Be a youngster or just be what he wanted to be.
Even we just saw like how he threatened his boss to get a promotion or he'd snitch on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about how basically how Ricky and Lester ended up meeting.
True.
You want to tell them?
Ricky and Lester?
Yeah, that whole situation.
Apparently they were at a bar and I guess he just came up to him and said, hey, I'm your new neighbor that lives next door. And I guess they had a conversation and then they were in the back of the building or whatever and they were just smoking weed. Wait,
Yeah.
am I even allowed to say that on this?
I think so. Just basically, they were smoking weed, and then basically, Ricky just stood up to his boss.
Yeah, that's true.
And then basically, all of a sudden, Lester becomes so inspired that he decides to follow takes Ricky's attitude persona.
That's true, because he's just following what this 18-year-old, but the thing is, this 18-year-old doesn't have any social skills in a way.
Yeah.
He's lacking communication, social, including he's suffering with some sort of paranoid version of because he's still afraid of what's going out there, but he just wants to break free from it. And
Yeah.
why is this woman even looking at this guy?
You mean Carolyn?
Yes.
I think basically because she might have started developing feelings for the Don King, one of the people that she works with, because Carolyn works selling real estate,
That's true. And
which will play a different part later on in the film. I don't think that we're now on the scene where basically Jane and Angela. What do you want to say about Jane and Angela?
one's a dummy and one's a really weird dummy.
Let's start with Jane.
Okay.
like- Obviously both Jane and Angela are teenagers.
True.
She's struggling in life. I noticed some of the ideas of her being a teenager and trying to socially fit in, because I think we can all agree being a teenager is not easy. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
Yes, and not to mention this blonde chick right here.
Angela.
Just a really annoying who wants to have a paparazzi or like someone right there listening, listening and also doing what to do.
Yeah, but back to Jane. One of the things I noticed is that she's struggling fitting in, because if you remember at the beginning of the scene, Jane was considering getting breast surgery so that way she could be popular.
That's true.
Like, how many times, like, at least in a moment in life that where a teenager feels that they do something like somewhat facial
Mm-hmm.
surgery or reconstruction, they might perhaps get noticed by other teenagers.
That's true because in high school everyone wanted to be this one popular person.
Where people will resort to anything to just be popular.
That's true.
And then another thing we talked about, and Jane, she develops feelings, like begins to notice about that. We have talked about the relationship between Jane and Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
How the first scene we get to with him, Ricky is recording Jane from his window
Yeah.
and starts recording her.
It's kind of weird how this story progresses. How it just goes on and on about it. Not to mention, didn't you once tell me that opposites attract?
Yeah.
What does she see in him, even though he considered to be a loner?
I think basically the fact that Ricky, he accepts the fact that he's a social aspect outcast. He can accept that. While Jane, she's trying to be popular at any means necessary. But she later realizes that she doesn't have to change who she is to be loved. Because if later on towards the end of the film, Ricky makes Jane realize that being ordinary isn't always that's boring. It's always because Jane's always considered herself an outcast as well, a freak.
True, because she only has what considered to be a one friend, which is the blonde Angela.
Yeah.
But Angela doesn't really consider to her as a friend either, because Angela just cares about popularity.
Yeah.
Jane, on the other hand, just cares about having a friend or just
enjoying life
and socializing with other people to fit in. But I guess that's how it is with most teenagers. And I don't know about teenagers today, because things have changed dramatically throughout the years.
Yeah.
So do you think this movie will fit right now in this day of age if this would have been released in 2023?
I have no I would need to get back with you on an answer with that.
I mean, that's true. Because what's weird about it is that didn't you say that the director wants you to think?
Yeah, make you think, question, like things, a question of film.
Exactly. And do you think if this movie would have came out and people are watching it, do you think the thinking would have been more more persuasive? I guess.
I don't know
or...
because you have to break it down. Like today, compared it to 1999 to like 2023, because we've gone through a lot over the last, what, 20 years?
Mm-hmm.
How society is constantly evolving.
How technology is also advanced.
And how teenagers now conduct themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. We see more, there's more, depends on what route do teenagers take to like be popular in this day and era.
I feel like nothing has changed dramatically, even though everything has changed. But the one thing that hasn't changed is behavior, and I think socializing hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
Because, like, look at right now. Right now, the wife is sitting alone.
The mother of Ricky.
She's just sitting there.
She's depressed. She's legit depressed. Like she's like like I would like to assume she's in a no loveless marriage because Ricky's father basically is always ruling with an iron fist.
He's old school military.
Yeah, you just can't accept the fact that times we're changing in his era.
Do you think that I don't know if this is in the film, but I don't see it though. Do you think that there's a bunch of physical abuse in this?
You can make the connections because there are moments where Ricky's father like does lay a hand on him, like this scene where Ricky is showing Jane his father's gun collection. Later on in the film, there's going to be a scene where Ricky's father finds out, and basically he goes ballistic on Ricky because the idea that he does not like people going into his stuff. And even look at the stuff that basically Ricky is showing Jane. Like, give it a second and you'll see.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We can't really say what this is.
It's the Third Riker.
Oh, God damn it.
The whole subculture people who collect stuff.
I gotta blur that out. Just say World War II.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like, makes you wonder, what type of childhood, like, I don't want to dissect the mind of Ricky's father. Like, I guess he just really grew up in a wartime era.
Or maybe he did say he was a major.
Yeah, he was in the military.
So that makes him a veteran.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at that time, I'm pretty sure he suffered through some sort of trauma.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah. Oh, here it is, the famous scene of a bag blowing in the wind with leaves from the Family Guy reference.
Yeah, I kind of like, when I watched this again a few days ago, I'm thinking like, sure, it's like dancing. I mean, the way he's narrating the bag.
This is just a weird scene, though. In a way.
Yeah, look how he's talking about, like, how he describes, like, the bag. There was this electricity in the air. You could almost hear it, right?
Something, I guess. I want to know something. I want to ask you something. Okay, I don't know if you ever heard of this happening. Do you know Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
Do you know how he was playing that bad guy from Black Panther?
Killmonger.
Yeah. So, from what I heard in the behind the scenes, that Michael Jordan had to go through some personality changes just to be a villain.
Yeah.
And apparently he lost his sense of identity of who he originally was. Including the actor who played the Joker of, I think it was the Dark Knight Rises or some shit like that.
Heath Ledger?
Yeah, Heath Ledger, the one who died.
Yeah.
Supposedly, I think I remember that he locked himself in an apartment for 2 weeks talking to himself, and then he went on full on insane, and then he continued that.
I think you're talking about method acting. Like, they had to get into character. They have to research, like...
Not only research, but to play the part and take it seriously.
Yeah.
But then, if you keep playing it too much, you lose who you really are, including the actor from that one Elvis movie that came out recently, and I think it was like the year when Buzz Lightyear came out, or when.
So how do you
Dominion.
connect this to like American Beauty?
So what I'm saying is that when I'm talking about when people do these personality changes in the film and also has effect on them in real life, I'm wondering about this film in particular when the actors had to play these particular depressing characters. Do you think over time when they're playing it, do you think they just suffer through an identity crisis which they don't know who they were?
I think it's safe to say everybody suffers through identity crisis once
Because
at one point in their life.
Because I guess that's understandable. Because don't you think that the actors who were playing it somehow got too serious and they lost who they really were?
It can, like I said, it can happen to anybody probably in life. It's not just in acting, but to people like us.
True. Because the actors play really good.
Yeah.
They just look depressed, mellow, like life is gray or black and white or whatever it is. Speaking of black and white, this guy is watching TV in black and white.
Yeah.
Not the kid, the dad.
Yeah.
Remember in the living room?
Yeah,
scene?
I think he was watching old military stuff.
And I'm just like, God damn it, his world must be in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into. To see, like, I was hoping you could give me a good answer at least, because a lot of actors today are suffering because I noticed when they play a role, they take it too seriously and they don't know who they were. And I'm wondering, back in '99 in this movie, have they gone through some sort of personality changes when the movie came out?
Here's that scene I was telling you about, how basically he stands up for himself. Lester stands up against his wife and daughter.
God damn it, this woman is just going on a full rant.
Carolyn,
and this guy just taking like whatever.
Like, she thinks like she's gonna be the breadwinner, but no. But Lester's telling her, I already have a job, even though, get this, apparently he applied at a cheeseburger, at a burger place.
True.
Gets to feel happy.
Man, she plays a really good character just to go on a full rant.
Let's talk about Carolyn.
Alright, let's go with it.
So basically, I stated this earlier, but she wants to create this, she's in a facade thinking that her family is this perfect family, which is not. Think about it. She's defined by, she wants people to be defined by appearances.
True.
And then I talked about this, how when they were at the dinner party, there was the scene also where Carolyn got mad because Lester got the couch dirty, and Lester told him, "You're defined by material possessions. That's not a way of living. That's not a way to live."
And what's so fucking dumb is that she's guilty too.
Yeah.
She had an affair, made love to a guy in real estate at a hotel, and this woman wants a perfect family.
No, yeah. What does that say about if you had to live in either Ricky's family or Jane's family, whose would you rather live in?
Oh, why do you have to do that?
Or like, what is that? Or how would you dissect both the families?
Both need therapy.
I would say both.
And both need to seek counseling, and actually one needs to go to jail.
Yeah.
The father might need to go to jail. This one.
Oh, this scene where.
What is this one?
Carolyn tries to reassure Jane that nothing's going on. It talks about freaks. There was even talked about this where earlier in the film, Angela was telling Jane that your father is all right. It's just that your mother is a phony.
Yeah, where have I heard that word before?
Yeah.
Old enough to learn the importance that you cannot count on everyone except yourself. No shit.
Depends on the family structure.
But this one just wants everything evolved around her.
Yeah.
Jane, on the other hand, right here, she's going through some sort of
Teenager. She's a teenager.
She's basically a teenager.
Being a teenager is not easy for anybody.
Especially for us. I remember my teenage years; they were just boring and wow. You just
because he called. Tell her that basically Caroline thinks that Jane isn't appreciative, bringing up her childhood, the fact that didn't even have a house.
like, what does she want? Like,
She wants to create that perfect family.
but you can't create it. There's no such thing.
Even if you have a perfect family, it's usually the perfect family that always has problems.
Exactly. Like, look at that show, Modern Family. You think anyone's in there is perfect? No, but they go through it.
That's together as family. There's no violence, but at least different type of thing we're talking about when it comes to Modern Family.
If I had to choose between what character I want to be,
Or at least which family? Do you want to live in Ricky's or do you want to live in Jane's?
Oh boy. I would like to be with Ricky because I get to film something that I like. But in the same way, I'm going to be in a strict family, mainly a father who basically wants old school.
Old school, like.
And a mother who's not supportive. Even though she looks like she does love.
She's just been in fear because the fear that Ricky's father has put in her.
Like, what did he put in this woman? Like, threats?
Perhaps, yeah. You can it was like, even though there was never implied, but you could just tell by the reaction of Ricky's mom how she's always scared. Go back to the scene where Ricky brought home Jane to meet her mom.
That's true.
Look at how her whole reaction was.
Like, oh my, I didn't think my son would have a friend or a girl.
Like, she was like in complete shock.
She just, oh boy, and not to mention when she was sitting in the dining room set, she was basically in a complete limbo.
Yeah.
And also, what rated is this movie?
This is rated R.
Oh boy, this is not a good movie to watch if you're not over 18.
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
If you're not over 18.
Yeah, it's a little shaken up.
And then we talked about the abuse, and I brought it up earlier. How Ricky's father is. Care to read the dialogue?
About what?
Just the subtitle.
Fight me? No, sir. I won't fight you. How? How did you get in there? How did you pick the lock? Basically, the part where the dad finds out that his son was going into his prized possession of plates.
Yeah.
And that he's explaining that I just brought a friend over to see the plate. And I guess, like how you said earlier, he doesn't like no one to touch his stuff.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating.
Yeah.
Man, this guy beat the living shit out of him.
Yeah. The blood.
Especially the punches.
Yeah. So you would rather live with Ricky's? Did you care to take your statement back about living with Ricky's family?
In a way, I would not want to because I have to...
Look at this. This is for your own good, boy. Continue.
I have no respect for other people's and things for authority.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
You can't go around doing whatever you like, what you feel like. You can't. There are rules in life. Technically, I'm gonna quote my grandma what she said to my mom and she told me. In life, there's no instruction manuals.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah.
You just do what you gotta do to survive, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, he shouldn't. Even though now that he's calmed down in a way and apologizing, I think he's gonna apologize. Stay out of there, basically. But what he should have done is say sorry and all that shit. But really, for your own good, just to fucking punch him?
Anger management issues.
Well, you did say he was a veteran.
Yeah. Basically, one of the things was that he has him, like he brought up, he thought that his son was doing dope.
Which he doesn't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one of the things that he does, Ricky's father does, is has once a week do urine sample.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
At the age of the year of 99, marijuana hasn't really suited yet until years later. And this guy's firing a gun.
And Carolyn.
Why is she now? See, she's all getting excited and everything, and she wants it all for himself. But why wouldn't she accept her husband to have fun for himself?
Yeah.
Like, why? What's the point? Like, are you just see? She looks like she's just having fun, trying to do what she wants in a way, and she just won't let her husband have fun in a way.
Yeah.
Like, lady, you just slept with a real estate.
Oh,
agent.
look at that scene, the gun scene. That's going to play an important role later on in the film. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, guys, ladies and gentlemen, go watch this movie. This is just one of those movies that you have to put in the time for it.
I think we haven't talked about the one thing. We haven't talked about Angela and the whole relationship with Lester.
I got nothing.
Let's talk about it. Angela is like in this film is one of the like in her time one of the hottest popular girls in the world. All the guys love her, and then somehow Lester falls into the spell of her, which forces Lester to do like ridiculous things just to like impress Angela. We saw with the working out in hopes of like just being like a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and this back to this I was telling you earlier about the idea of being defined by material possessions. What do you think? That the idea of just being that you only like to be defined by material possessions. That's not our way of living.
Pretty much, yeah. Basically, everything should evolve about figure, judgment, looks, and your own opinion matters, but no one else's does.
Uh-huh.
Basically, you want to overlap everyone else's, but yours.
Yeah.
Basically, you're right and everyone else is wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this woman. I don't know who to hate in this film. There's a lot of people in this movie that I want to hate. This woman,
Carolyn,
the military father,
Ricky's dad,
and the popular girl.
yeah, Angela,
and then this guy. Like, this guy. Fuck
Lester.
Lester. Fuck this guy. Like, this movie... I want to know the process of how he made this movie. Like, what did he went through to film this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did he happen to go experience it himself, or did he just walk around and see what he sees and think, oh, that may be a good idea for a film? Oh, he's yelling at her. Let's go add that to the type that out. Let me ask you, what was the process of filming this? Like, before he filmed it, what was his process of writing it? Like, what was it? How did he do this? Because this movie is just shows a lot of work in a way, but not to mention, it's just, god damn, atrocious.
Let's talk about, so you talk about this. That leads to the whole concept of this film. It's this question, what is beauty? What is true beauty?
To me, there is no beauty. It's what you think it's beauty.
Yeah.
You're yourself. Like, I remember when I was going through a rant or something where I thought to myself, why... Like, basically, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
You yourself... Like, let's say you're in love with this girl. Everything... People might look at her strange, that she's not right or just whatever. But to someone else's eyes, it's beauty.
Yeah.
To them. And if you don't need a million people to say you're beautiful, if you only can get one person, that's enough.
I think when I rewatched this a couple days ago,
Mm-hmm.
at the ending, after spoiler alert, after you know who gets shot,
Yeah.
we get a montage about what beauty is, about letting it just flow, like brought up the fact of letting the water flow through you, going and how do I say this? Like letting and just enjoying, like being yourself, 100%. You don't change for anybody. The idea, and then then that's what true beauty is.
Basically, not trying to impress no one but yourself.
You stay 100% true to yourself.
It's you, the person who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about basically what is beauty, but I think anything what you think to your own eyes is.
Yeah, just staying 100% to yourself. I could be wrong because you have to like at least watch it like because it could always keep changing. Like the idea, the true definition of what beauty, true beauty means.
I think this movie needs to be. I don't know if they ever show this on television or anyone has ever watched this for the past lately, but for the love of God, people, you need to watch this movie. Like, I think we live in a world right now due to the pandemic, but right now where people are just. Should I say this word? Judgmental?
Yeah.
Where
you have to live up to a certain standard, to somebody's standard, in order to be accepted in society.
in a way, who says you should fall? Like, I remember Black Sabbath. I know I'm this is a weird full to do this, but I remember a Black Sabbath song where it says, "Why should you follow the pack if you could make your own path? Why follow the pack?" And it's true. Why should you follow what that everyone else said you should do? Instead, you should do your own path. That's in another song of Black Sabbath. It's basically heaven and hell. Basically, what's right and what's wrong. I don't know if that's correct, but to me, I think that's close enough to where you have to choose your own faith.
Yeah.
I try my best to in life with this, but in this movie, it just sets the tone. Like, okay, well, what these characters are going through. God damn it! I don't need to see that.
So either way, so what? I guess should we talk about that ending? The one I think the ending that really screwed with your head.
Just to get it over with, yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So we're going. The ending, spoiler, ends with Lester getting shot. But the question is, who did it? So at the end of the film, Lester gets shot. The question is, we don't know who gets shot. Who shot Lester? There are so many like twists and turns on who shot Lester. A little bit of backstory towards the ending. It was a rainy night, and Angela decided to like hang out with Lester. Ricky comes to Jane's house and asks him, if I were to leave for New York tonight, would you come with me? Somehow I find that kind of like interesting. The love of your life comes knocking on your door at the middle of the night saying, if I leave for this place, will you come with me? I'm a sentimental factor. And then on the other hand, Carolyn, Lester's wife, is in the it's raining, middle of the road. Her car gets broken down. She starts breaking down. She says, I'm not gonna be a victim. And remember how I told you about look, keep an eye out for that gun scene? We see the gun reappear. So we know that Carolyn is going to do something. But to who, we don't know. On the other hand, there's another suspect. Ricky's father. Because of the fact that Lester is corrupting Ricky, which upsets him because he doesn't want, he wants his son to view America a certain way.
Yes, basically he's trying to protect his son from
even though it's a huge misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But the fear just really what's the word? Like the adrenaline, fear, the anxiety just legit gets to Ricky's father.
Yeah, because he thinks it's a misunderstanding, and not to mention, he's just trying to best to protect his boy, but there's a misunderstanding. Not to mention, at first, I don't know. Should I say the spoiler in a way?
So let me just finish. So basically, when things get settled, Angela goes to the restroom. Then out of nowhere, bang! You hear a gunshot. Lester is dying on the floor. Then we see Jane and Ricky come in and notice that their father has been shot.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, who did it? Because there were so many moments happening in that scene. Does Carolyn end up? Was it Carolyn who decided to shoot her own husband Lester for saying, "I will not be the victim,"
Mm-hmm.
or is it Ricky's father?
Yeah, because at first I thought it was the wife because think about it, there was a lot of tension between them because obviously she had an affair with another guy.
Yeah.
He is daydreaming about this scrawny teenager.
Yeah.
And then not to mention I thought it was also Ricky who was gonna kill him because they discussed it like, do you want me to kill your dad for you?
Which was interesting. At the beginning of the movie, that's the first thing we get.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought that too. I'm like, so there's like different plot points of who did it, and at the last minute I wasn't really thinking about the military guy.
Yeah.
At first I was, but I was thinking unless he was doing it in a way of retribution to like not kill him, but set like a warning.
Yeah.
Like, don't go near my son or I will shoot you.
Yeah.
But in a way, that film kind of, how should I say it? There's a lot of twists and turns in this film.
Yeah.
And it is just mind-blowing the way how that film happened.
So, either way, so we see him getting Lester being dying on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought it had to be, that's the thing, because the first time I watched it, I couldn't make sense of it, what just happened. Then the second time when I watched it, I still didn't. But the third time I watched it, I figured it. I think the answer must have been Ricky's father, because after basically Lester's dying on the floor, we get a scene where basically we're back at Ricky's and his father's house.
Yep.
And then you remember how Ricky's father had all these guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we see one gun missing.
Mm-hmm.
So that you have to do deduction. So the answer would have to be the father.
I thought that too because at first I thought it was the father or I thought it was Ricky who took it.
I think process of elimination. It couldn't be. They were just joking when Ricky asked Jane, "Do you want me to kill him?" And then they were joking.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, they were gonna just run away to New York.
Why of any places? What makes you think New York is the best place to hide?
Or just start? I guess just to start over.
Why don't you go to Canada? You're off the country.
I don't know. Let us stick with New York. So basically, what the
okay? Let me ask you a question. What would you want to start a new life?
I don't know. I've never considered it. It's like it goes back to the question I told you. If the love of your night comes knocking on your door and says, "If I leave for New York tonight, would you come with me?" What would you do in that situation?
Mm-hmm. I would. Oh, god damn it! It kind of reminds me of that movie that we were watching.
Which one?
Paper Trail or
Paper Town.
Paper Town.
Yeah.
God damn it. I would not waste my time in a way. I would.
If it was the love of your life somehow.
I would go,
Yeah.
but then I would have to retract what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, but clearly they were made for each other. I think because Ricky and Jane, basically, they were outcasts, and then Ricky made Jane realize you don't have to live in this perfect society.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be the freaks and the rejects.
True.
Yeah, and then Angela got mad for saying, "Why would you do that? We'll leave with a psycho." And then even Jane realized, I'm an outcast as well.
I mean, aren't we all outcasts?
Depends on on your definition on how you define it.
Well, think about it, Brian. In high school, we were socially awkward. We didn't really had no popularity, and I remember in high school there was a lot of popularity going on, and I was just like, in a way I wanted that taste of it, but I realized, you know what, it ain't worth it. It's not worth my time, and I had to appreciate my friends who I have.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? Even though it kind of bummed me out, but then I got over it within a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need to prove anything. Who do I need to prove?
Mm-hmm.
I have you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, high school, teenagers, we were going through hell back in from 2015 to 2011. Those were the decades where BS was everything.
You weren't at the height of technology and everything.
In a way, things were getting better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you remember all the stuff that happened in high school?
Let's just stick with the film.
I know. I'm just trying to tell you. Like, I think most of this had to apply with what we were going through: social life, family drama.
Yeah.
You know.
It goes back to like just family, romance, forbidden love between Lester and Angela.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they realized that it Lester saw the true beauty in Angela.
Mm-hmm.
That she was innocent, that she didn't know what she wanted either, but I think Lester was able to figure it out.
Yeah, that movie was really cutting to me.
Yeah. So I think we already answered the question of what is true beauty, which can have multiple definitions.
There's multiple answers, and it's just your perspective of how that works.
Yeah.
I guess it's just that you yourself, you set your own story. No one else just said it for you.
Yeah. You don't change for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You don't need to press no one. This is all for you. You are your own person.
Mm.
You know?
Mm.
I don't get it. This movie, who I don't know how he did it, but the guy knows how to set the tone.
Yeah, you have to watch it a couple times to get a better understanding. And this is one of the things that I've come to love about films. You just basically, I love the traditional Hollywood, but at the same time, I don't like that traditional Hollywood. How can I rephrase it? I like when you have your happy endings, but I like when you don't have those traditional Hollywood endings, where you have to think, you have to better analyze a situation in life and find that answer deep inside of yourself.
Exactly.
I think anything else we want to cover?
I think we already talked a lot during this film. It's just a lot of twists and turns and things that you need to watch it yourself because I can't really say much about this film. And plus, I didn't even go on a full-on rant.
Yeah.
I wanted to, but I think it would have been better if we had Red.
Yeah.
But since he's at work, that's impossible.
Yeah. Shout out to Red.
Anything else you want to add?
I think we're good. Just go check out this movie. Just be aware it's not your traditional Hollywood ending. And it'll make you just think about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good place to where to wrap up things.
I agree.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out this episode of Hey, What's Up?
I'm your host, Chris Otako.
I'm BB Comics. Don't forget to like,
subscribe,
comment,
hit the button,
and share.
And
until next time, this has been Hey, What's Up? Until next time.
See ya.